Welcome to another weekly series I hope to start and be consistent on, entitled Wisdom Wednesdays. Although my content is obviously geared towards the French horn, and that's always going to be the primary focus, I also feel a calling to share bigger picture ideas, insights that I've gained over many, many years. And so I feel like Wisdom Wednesdays is a great little title. So the idea would be half planned speech, half kind of free thinking, stream of consciousness thoughts. When I was teaching in the public schools, I would often, it was kind of a joke, but it was kind of be like, if they were a little rowdy or a little off task, I was like, hey, shut up or I'll give a speech. And I was very known for going off and trying to always talk big picture. Like, as a teacher, I think that's part of your responsibility. You're a mentor. I also know, as a French horn teacher, I've had I've had 20 to 40% of lessons of students be more therapy sessions and psychological analysis versus an actual horn lesson, because I think we could all agree, if you're a horn player, that the horn is a very difficult instrument, and it comes with challenges. It comes with a need to grow in other areas of our life, to be self-disciplined, etc. And so again, in this inaugural Wisdom Wednesdays, I'd like to just kind of start, again, stream of consciousness. I have set a timer for 8 minutes to keep it kind of short. My intention in the future is to try to do these with 5 minutes. But I'm just going to kind of see where my mind goes. I'm going to start with a phrase that I talk all the time, which is, the music will always change. The skills needed to play the music never change. It's a philosophy that I've adopted. It kind of goes back to process over product. You do not rise to an occasion, you fall to the level of your system. I mean, these are all things you're going to hear out there if you take deep dives into success principles or personal growth, or just if you want to be a better person. I think we always have to look at our habits. I bring that up because, again, as a music educator and a horn teacher, I've seen a pattern where a lot of students will just practice the music, which is great. Like, they should practice the music. The problem is, once that music set is done, or, like the concert's done, or the solo ensemble's done, it's like they've been practicing the specifics for that one piece or that one set. And so then what happens, if they don't have good fundamentals, right? They don't have routines, etc. I feel like the process for learning the next set of music seems always slower. It's like starting from scratch. And so the point I'm trying to make here in this is that our routines define us. Our habits are going to define us, not just as a horn player, but in general, right? We as human beings will be the sum total of all of our habits, the good, bad, and the ugly. And I would even kind of argue, in a world that, I want to put this delicately, but in a world that allows for us to be very individualistic and have individual things, identities and all that stuff, we can tend to maybe not hold ourselves accountable. Like, another way to say it is, I think we all need to have some sort of higher standard that holds us accountable. Now, in music, this is the beautiful thing. The music is the accountability, right? When you get a new piece of music or whatever, you go through this process of, like, figuring out how it's supposed to sound, breaking it down. So there's an ideal there. So a lot of what I'm saying is really about asking the big picture question is, what is your ideal? In my own personal journey of self-reflection, of trying to kind of figure out, who is Benjamin Garrett, one of the things that I've kind of realized about myself personally is I have a hyper desire to be competent. Now, that's a double-edged sword. It means, on one hand, that I'm gonna do whatever it takes to keep growing and get better, but it also means that I could be spread thin. And I look back and kind of realize that one of the reasons maybe certain things haven't manifested in my own life is because I was always afraid of putting things out there before they were ready, before they were perfect, before I had done the work. I would also say, for myself, because I like competence, I also kind of do, there's a famous phrase, jack of all trades, master of none, which I think, again, I could do a whole 8 minutes or 5 minutes just on that. But reason I'm bringing that up is, there are probably people like me who are more like jack of many trades, master of all. And I don't mean to say like in an arrogant way. I just mean like I get spread thin because I have a lot of interests. I'm a father. I want to be competent as a father. So I try to do avenues that way. I want to be a competent teacher, a competent horn player. And what I found is competence, a desire for competence requires a price. It requires a sacrifice. That can be a sacrifice of time, energy, effort. You have to maintain skills, right? If you want, like, let's say you want to be in better shape. We all recognize that you kind of have to exercise, but then you have to, do it consistently, and you have to sacrifice time, and so everything has to be put in its priority place. So again, on this inaugural Wisdom Wednesday, where I'm just meandering my thoughts and sharing ideas, I guess I would just say, to kind of wrap this up, is to say, if the music will always change, but the skills needed to play the music never change, we have to look at our habits. Now, you could take that phrase and you could, let's use it for school. The habits for studying, the habits for learning knowledge will never change, right? Like, the classes will change, the priorities of teachers, the grade, all this stuff will kind of change over time. But if you're going to be well educated, you have to have good habits. You have to learn how to study and prioritize and all these sacrifices. So I guess my point to all this is to say that the fundamental patterns of reality that play out in all of our lives are actually kind of consistent. And so again, I guess I'm just here to say, I hope that this little weird short thing that I'm going down will just plant a seed in maybe especially young students' brain that, how you practice is going to matter. The better you practice, the faster you learn. Obviously, on these Instagram and these reels, there's a big pattern where a lot of people are documenting their practicing, day in and day out, which I think is a great thing. Obviously, the internet is full of people who criticize and judge as well. It's one of the reasons that I've taken so long to decide to do this, is I've always been afraid of criticism. And yet, I think as I've grown as a person, as I've become more sure of myself and sure of my values and sure of my process, I also recognize that I have a lot to offer. I'm running out of time, so I'll wrap up by saying this. As a teacher, I used to say I would teach for free, but they paid me to deal with all the other crap. The crap in the system became too much. I love teaching. I love it. I love sharing ideas. I love inspiration. So again, that's all of this is why I'm choosing to do this. So the inaugural Wisdom Wednesday, happy practicing. Hope any of this was helpful, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.